Being forced to choose a pre-built species isn't customizable. I received this comment a lot. I know I didn't showcase it well enough in the first video, so here's me making up for that. You can play as any race or any species you want. Design their talents, how their stats scale, what their perks and deficits are. Yes, you can play a centaur, an orc, a horse, a slime, and of course, you can absolutely create 3 goblins in a trench coat. I get that last one a surprising amount. Seems to be a strong infatuation with playing as a swarm of bugs or 3 something in a trench coat. Relatable, honestly. Okay, let's build our own race and play some tabletop RPGs. In 2020, I designed a 117-page expansion for D&D 5th edition. It was just something for me and my friends to play, something to make the game a bit more exciting. And after years of playing, one of my friends said to me, "There's enough here. It could be its own game." Flash forward to 4 long years later, and the summit is finally in view. What if there was more customization? What if you weren't stuck to a single class? What if you could respawn? What if you could design spells on the spot? What if there was no maximum design spells on the spot? What if there was a game where you could play anything, be anybody, no limitations, no questions asked? I'm happy to finally say it. Welcome to Utopia. When you first create a character in Utopia TTRPG, the first thing you have to decide is your species. I've heard many times that this immediately reduces your customization abilities, having to pick from a list of potential races. Your species doesn't have a huge impact on gameplay, but it is quite difficult to change in the future. Not impossible, but difficult nonetheless. After hearing the call, I added it. A way to design custom species in Utopia's core rule set. Surprisingly, out of all the customization options in Utopia, custom creatures and custom species are one of the easiest to use. The process is very plug and play, throw the things you want together, and boom, you're playing a slime goblin? In this video, we'll be going over how to build your own race of your choosing. After that, we'll get into how to create creatures. These can be enemies, NPCs, familiars and pets, allies, whatever you need them to be. Of course, we'll break down some of the balance, how powerful a creature is compared to a player, and how to tell. And finally, my favorite so far. Instead of sitting down and designing our own species, I'll be going through some of the awesome creations the community has come up with. They're really cool. And of course, if you want something you made showcased in a video in the future, I'll go over that too. I want to spend a moment explaining what Utopia TTRPG is and what kind of game it is, how to play, and the likes. If you already know what there is to know about Utopia, feel free to skip to the next chapter in this video. If you've been in the Discord or the subreddit for a while, you probably know the custom species chart as this. Basically a huge plain text document with no graphics. Custom species and custom creatures are one of the newest mechanics in the game. Utopia TTRPG is very playable, and many community members have run countless campaigns already. However, it is still in a prototype phase. If you're interested in pre-ordering a final copy, you can pledge on Kickstarter. You can still order it after the campaign ends for at least some time. If you're interested in learning how to play, you can click on the card in the corner or in the link in the description. Don't worry, it's less than 30 minutes. In a nutshell, Utopia TTRPG is a tabletop RPG system. It includes customizable everything. As you play, you'll develop your character through talents. There are no classes. Instead, there are talent trees where you can spend your levels one feature at a time. If you want to be a battlecaster, you can take talents from Magecraft and Warfare. If you want to be a roguish healer, you can take talents from Tactics and Influence. Want to be good at everything? Just go down the prowess tree a dozen times. I won't judge you too hard. Items, spells, species, and creatures are broken down by feature. You can customize every item you wield, modify your spells up to until the moment you cast them, or preemptively design them for your next fight. Everything is up to you, limited only by your imagination. Okay, that should be a good foundation for the game. Let's talk about creating our next Frankenstein's monster. I know this is going to be crazy, so make sure you're sitting down. In order to design a custom race, you'll need to think of one. It's okay to be blown away. I understand. I was too. No, but really, it's important to know what your species will look like, feel like, and act like. What are their strengths and weaknesses? What do they excel at, and what do they struggle with? What setting are they from? High fantasy, sci-fi, or something entirely independent? If they introduce themselves to basic civilization in their setting, how would people treat them? Even more physical than that, how many arms and legs do they have? Can they fly, swim, and walk? How durable are they? How much energy do they have? And how connected are they to their core essence or soul? I'll explain why these are necessary and how this translates into the game's custom system. Every race has these following characteristics: a constitution, endurance, and effervescence score. These scores dictate how well your surface health, stamina, and deep health scale each level, respectively. Surface health is the amount of regenerative hit points you have. When you take damage, it's dealt to SHP until you have 0. When you rest, you'll get all of your SHP back. Stamina is an easy to regenerate resource that really only matters in time-sensitive situations. This can translate to literal stamina or a robot's battery reserve. Stamina is only required by specific abilities such as special attacks and spells. You can spend 1 turn action, or otherwise 1 second, to regain 1 stamina, so it isn't hard to get back. The size of your deep health pool is synonymous with how well you're connected to your soul. The more deep health you lose, the more detached your spirit is from your body. Deep health does not replenish naturally and requires either spells or items to be healed. High constitution means high SHP, high endurance means high stamina, and high effervescence means high DHP. Generally speaking, you'll either have a race that is specialized in one of these, such as an elf in the core guide, or one that is relatively mediocre but similar spread, much like the Oxtis. Following that, our species will be gifted in certain aspects, specifically in certain subtraits. There are 12 total subtraits that a species can be gifted in, ranging from brute force output to how well they can understand foreign languages. When a species is gifted in one of these, they can't have a negative modifier in that stat, and have twice as much wiggle room when it comes to increasing that stat. However, the first thing we're going to get into is one of the most interesting: quirks. Quirks are innate features that your species are born with and have at first day of play. These may include the ability to fly, having more or less than 2 hands, multiple heads, or literally glowing in the dark. Every one of these quirks uses a currency called quirk points. These points are how we balance these bad boys. In order to get all the coolest bells and whistles, we'll have to add some downsides as well. Maybe they can't physically speak. Maybe they can't wear certain types of armor. Or maybe
they're small. Don't you dare look at me like that.
a species can have anywhere from 18 to 23 quirk points total. If you go above this total, you'll have to either remove a positive feature or add more negative features. However, a species can only have 5 quirks in total. I'm sorry, you can't just put every single quirk on the list to your species yet. Maybe in the future, I don't know. I'm waiting for somebody in the comments to say, so I can't play an Omni-Ooze, an infinite shimmering creature that was born in the heart of the cosmos, containing every potential substance that could possibly exist? Anyways, once you have your quirks picked out, you'll add up the total number of quirk points you've spent, and we'll move on to the next step. I'll be assuming we spend 10 quirk points on our selection of funny features out of our 18 to 23 total pool. The next step is to figure out what it's gifted in, like we talked about before. Every gifted stat costs 1 quirk point, and you have a total of up to 4 gifted subtraits. This is really up to you and what you believe your species would be best at. Do they zoom? Gifted in speed. Are they strong? Gifted in power. Are they super duper pretty? Gifted in appeal. Real stubborn? Gifted in resolve. There's one main exception to consider. You can trade out 3 gifted subtraits for 2 variable options. A variable option is like what a human has. Rather than having it preset, the player is allowed to choose a subtrait once they create the character. This is a 2 to 3 cost, meaning you get 2 any choice gifted subtraits for 3 quirk points. Perfect. Now our species is strong and or fast and or smart and or very appealing to look at and or very good at talking, probably. I'll assume we picked 3 specific subtraits, putting us at 13 quirk points. Next up is block rating and dodge rating. Your block rating and dodge rating are each a number of dice, d4s and d12s respectively, that are used to prevent oncoming damage. Blocking is a more reliable form of damage prevention, but ultimately rolls with much lower dice. Dodging, on the other hand, is our all or nothing. You get bigger dice, but you have to prevent all of the damage or take all of the damage. Much more of a gamble. Each species has a minimum of 1 die each, so 1d4 block and 1d12 dodge. Every die costs 1 quirk point, and they can increase it to up to 6 dice each. That's right, cough up the additional 2 quirk points. Ow. If you maxed out both of these stats, you'd have 6d4 block and 6d12 dodge, paying a very substantial 12 quirk points for that. Honestly, respectable. But I'll assume you spent a measly 2 points in total, 1 in each, putting us at 15 quirk points spent, aka not all that great at preventing damage. We only have one more thing to do. Subscribe. I'm sorry, the internet pantheon said I had to do it. For serious though, we'll need to spend our remaining points on the race's constitution, endurance, and effervescence. Quick reminder, constitution is tied to surface HP, endurance is tied to stamina, and effervescence is tied to deep HP. All these stats cost 1 point each and have a minimum of 2. That means that you're spending a bare minimum of 6 points, given each of them are at 2. With only the bare minimum, that would leave us at 21 quirk points spent. That means we still have 2 points left. Oh wait. Oh wow, that's not a lot left. Huh. Alright, short little static PNG person, how would I create a custom creature then? I hear you ask. First of all, rude, I'm not that short. Third of all, I'm so glad you asked. This one is even easier, so we'll break it down super fast. Creatures come in 3 main sections: the head, the thorax, and the Sorry, wrong textbook. There are creature bodies, kits, and classes. All creatures have a difficulty rating, or a DR. In a nutshell, this is a reference to how powerful they are. Simply put, a creature's DR should be equal in power to a character's level. Now I need to preface a couple of things. A level 50 character will often be more powerful than a DR 50 creature. Players have a lot more versatility, opportunities for choice, and little tidbits here and there that stack up very quickly. As well, DR is not a perfect expectation for how well an encounter will go. Some creatures are fast, some are tanky, and some can fly. It's possible for a creature or a character to be the direct counter to another, and that can make combat go a bunch of wild directions. Please sign this waiver that states I am not liable for any TPK scenarios that could occur. Okay, first thing we'll do is choose a creature body. This will depict what type of creature we're dealing with. Examples include beast, humanoid, dragon, things like that. This will give us a base DR to work with, as well as what type of components we can expect the creature to drop, and a very basic skill set. We can stop here if we want to. We can literally just add a creature body and call it a day. However, assuming we're going even further beyond, let's move to step number next one. Kits. Kits are a bit different, as you can stack them multiple times on a creature. Each kit will come with some stackable buffs, such as increased block rating, subtrait bonuses, defense bonuses, things like that. As well, they'll come with a DR bonus. For instance, if we wanted to make something real tough, we can just put 10 stacks of the tank kit, increasing its DR by a total of 40. Then we'll add 2 stacks of the rogue kit because we're classy. Speaking of that, finally, we have classes. There are different types of classes that a creature can have. Martial classes, arcane classes, so on. You can give a creature up to 1 of each type of class. Like before, it'll come with a set DR increase, some stat bonuses, and some additional abilities. The difference here is that these abilities do not stack, and some classes even give the creature some gear that they can drop. You're allowed the option to say that they're holding their gear, equipped on them, or that the effects of their gear are integrated into their body. Essentially, they're either holding a flamethrower versus they breathe fire. You can give it the Brute and Illusionist class, but you cannot give it the Brute and Militant class, as those are both martial classes. Add up the DR and the bonuses, and you have a shiny new creature to throw at your players. Oh wow, that's really big and powerful. Remember, you signed the waiver. It's about time to show off some of those amazing community creations. I'll be pulling from the Discord forums pages, specifically Species Forum channel and Creature Forum channels. I would like to start making short form content showing these guys off a ton more. I do pay attention to these, and I am very active in Discord. If you have some cool ideas, or maybe even want a chance to be showcased in a video, join the Discord and the subreddit. I really do love to see what you guys come up with. I'm hoping to do a video on why certain changes and ideas weren't added to Utopia, what ideas were genuinely good ideas but just couldn't be implemented. As well, I'd like to talk about the future of Utopia and its first content expansion, the Adventurer's Guide. If you're liking this video so far and want to see those videos when they come out, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't worry, I'll wait for you. Go ahead, don't be shy, click the button. I said subscribe. The first species I'll be showcasing is the Kitsune, made by Cosmo Wraith in Discord. This species will be rocking 5 Constitution, 8 Endurance, and 5 Effervescence. To note, that's higher than average for every stat. Gifted in Speed and Appeal, Fast, and Charming. 3d4 block rating, 1d12 dodge rating to start. Cosmos used all 5 quirk slots, giving us a bunch of cool effects. Due to their unique body composition and mystic heritage, they require customized head and waist equipment, and can't augment anything at all. With up to 9 total tails, 4 of those bad boys are prehensile, meaning they work as their own hands, giving you a total of 6 functional hands. This means you can hold up to 6 single-handed items, 3 two-handed items, or a single item requiring 6 hands. Yes, those do exist. Finally, they have the transformation quirk. They can spend 6 turn actions, essentially an entire turn, to transform into their fox form. This increases a bunch of their stats, continues for as long as they keep focus, but removes any features they gain from equipment like armor. Their talents include lots of elemental combat features, reducing their weaponless attacks to 1 turn action, dealing additional elemental damage, and even natural regeneration. I do have to note, the most recent errata update has pushed this species over the quirk limit, but honestly, I really like the concept, so now it's part of this video. Thank you, Cosmos, for your awesome idea. Here comes the next one. The Anachrony species designed by I really do love this one, I'm going to be so honest. It comes with 2 subspecies, the Yokai and the Phantom. We'll be rocking 4 Constitution, 5 Endurance, and 7 Effervescence. Ultimately average except for that very high Effervescence, I love it. Both are gifted in Memory, Language, and Stunt, and both have 1d4 block rating and 3d12 dodge. Definitely some agile folk. They'll share this list of quirks. These specters cannot augment items whatsoever, have their maximum carry capacity reduced, and have 0 functioning hands. This means they'll have to use alternative methods to use things like weapons and artifacts, such as telekinesis or relying on weaponless attacks. They're sporting levitation and artificial, meaning they don't need to eat, breathe, or sleep, can't be fatigued in any way, and they can't take fall damage. Their movement speed is based on their memory score, meaning being wiser is equal to being faster. Going through their subspecies, Yokai seem to be amazing casters, while Phantoms are substantially more brawler focused. Yokai also come with some telepathy and support features, while Phantoms get some better weaponless attacks and some curse effects. I have to say, I absolutely love this species so much and would personally absolutely play this. Just for fun, I wanted to include the custom species talent, and we called it Intangible, essentially allowing them to spend 12 stamina and an interrupt action to become immune to physical damage against a single action. Honestly, very thematic. Thank you so much for your creativity. I want to say this is really just a small portion of the plethora of awesome ideas. A ton of cool species, creatures, items, spells, and more are all dotted around. If you're interested in adding your own, please consider joining the subreddit or the Discord. If you're looking for a ton of creature ideas, I would personally recommend the Bestiary Bee forum in the Creatures Forum Discord. Bee is the name of the creator, it's not just full of bees, I promise, probably. And you'll have to find out for yourself. All the links are in the description. That's a wrap for all of our customization tutorials for now. If you haven't seen how to build custom spells or custom items, check these cards at the end of the video for a quick guide. They'll explain how to make a weapon that levels buildings or how to cast 65 million stamina spell that lights the entire world on fire. I'm not joking. I'm really excited for the next phase of videos. It's been a lot of fun being able to talk about Utopia. Of course, if you're interested in grabbing a free prototype or even pre-ordering the game, those links will be below. I still have some more Utopia on the mind, so there's definitely more that we'll be going into with that. However, I do have some other adjacent projects I'm considering giving a little love to. I don't know. If you made it this far, tell me what you think. What would you like to see more of? I appreciate you being here on this ride with me. So much more fun stuff over the horizon yet. And of course, thanks.